Okay. So, welcome everyone tonight to our Live and Let Go circle. The reason that I felt called to call it tonight's circle was because last month I was flipping through my Witch's Almanac date book, and they have these little excerpts in here, and just random things, and sometimes it correlates with the month if it's like on the same page, or the moon on the same page. So it was talking about November's full moon and how it was the moon of loss, and it really hit because I know personally what I was navigating around that theme, and just everyone that I was talking to was kind of going through it in some way. And we'll go into that a little deeper in the circle, on how like that can show up in different ways. But before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. I am Mariah Raven. I'll be your sacred facilitator this evening, and I am a shamanic practitioner. I am a circle facilitator. I'm a mom of 7, and I am just here to help you tap into your divine feminine and reawaken that within yourself. So if it has to do with that, I'm here, and I'm totally down for holding that space for you. So before we get going, there are 3 pillars of integrity that I always say before we step into circle, and that is just the first one is confidentiality. So again, what happens in circle stays in circle. And so when someone shares, which there will be sharing later, we just want that just ensures the privacy of everyone here, to know that you don't have to worry about somebody sharing, anything that you've shared. You don't have to worry about what you're sharing. The second pillar of integrity is active listening. So when we are having our open floor and someone's sharing, it's so normal for us to listen, and find something to relate to, so that we can kind of help people kind of feel better. Sorry, there may be some back and forth. We got kids on one side and partner on the other, but just know this room is empty aside from the occasional he's going to go check on the kids. Back to what I was saying though. So the active listening. It's so normal for us and natural for us to want to find something to relate to, or even like offer advice if someone's going through something. And so I just want to speak to this so that we try not to do that. We're giving them our full attention, and it just helps them feel more seen and heard. And then moving from that is conscious speaking, so that when it's your turn to speak, don't feel that you have to share something related to the circle this evening. If there's something that you're navigating and you're going through, and you really just need to speak about it and release it and have yourself seen and heard, it's okay to use that space for that. It don't have to be in a good space to share. Don't feel like you're going to be bringing down the circle. Don't feel like there's no box you need to fit in, no mask you need to wear, no filter, nothing. All of you is welcome here. So just know that when it's your turn to speak, let it out. Whatever needs to come up is meant to come up. And so with all of that, we are going to do an opening prayer, and we're going to get into our circle. I invite you to close your eyes and place either your hands on your heart, or a hand on your heart and a hand on your womb space. In this moment, I welcome the presence of the divine. Goddess, universe, source creator, please be here with us in this space. Please support us in truly serving and in giving from the heart and from the depths of transformation that are most meant to flow through us, for the highest good of all beings, including all here tonight, as well as those watching the replay and those we carry in our hearts. I give thanks to Lenape Hoking, these Lenape ancestral homelands, and we give thanks for the ancestral homelands for all here present here this evening. All the 2-legged, 4-legged, finned, furred, the stone people, the plant people, the winged ones, and all other holy beings of this natural world. Greetings and thank you to each and every one of you here this evening, and also greetings and thank you to each and every one of our benevolent and elevated ancestors, our guides, and our allies that called us here tonight in this way. We call upon the wise women in our lineages, the healers, the medicine women, the teachers, the spiritual leaders, the midwives, the grandmothers, hearth keepers, fire tenders, the knowledge keepers, and all other wise and well ancestors in our lineage who would like to be present and aid us in the divine guidance, wisdom, and protection. May everything shared here this evening be helpful, be practical, be beneficial to each and every one of our hearts, our bodies, our minds, our spirits. And in that way, may it be an offering into the web of life on behalf of the liberation of all beings, human and non-human, tending and healing to anything that needs healing at this time, to make good offerings into this present moment, and to create more beauty and more healing for infinite generations to come. Amen, Awen, Aho, and so it is. The circle is open. So the first thing I'm going to do is share a card. And typically, if this was an in-person circle, we would go around the circle and just introduce ourselves. So if you would like to drop in the chat, that way we can also get that open and getting that utilized too, because I want connection happening. So using the chat, drop your name, where you're tuning in from, and how you're doing this evening. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to share a card, and I pulled a card from the Wisdom of Women Goddess deck. And for those of you who don't know, this is not a deck that's sold in stores. It was a collaborative project of myself and 40 other women, and each of us is a card in here. We could have gotten myself, but it's really cool. It's really awesome. So the card that we got is actually my friend Lindsay. Her card is Psychic Conduit. And I will say that everything, the card, I have a playlist for us tonight. Like, that's music that you're going to hear while you're journaling. And it's also other added songs that kind of go with the theme of tonight. That will be shared in the group chats, in the event page. So all of this will be accessible too, and a picture of this. So the Psychic Conduit says, everything in this world is energy, and you are a spiritual being having a human experience with your own gifts and intuition. A conduit is another name for a channel. You must become a clear channel in order to receive the messages from Source. The Lakota people also refer to this as becoming the hollow bone, which allows universal life source to move through you. It is time to cleanse your energetic field and get grounded to become the psychic conduit. Light some smoke medicine, clear your energy, sit down and get quiet so that you can receive the messages from Source. Own your power. And then the affirmation for this card says, I am a powerful and clear psychic conduit for Source, ready to receive messages for my highest good. And the journal prompt is, what messages do I receive from Source when I clear my energy field and become the psychic conduit? And again, I will have pictures of this so that way you can go back and reflect on that in your own time and just take in the visuals and everything. Okay, so let's get into why we are here this evening. We're going to talk about the mourning moon. And first, I'll read the excerpt from the date book that kind of sparked the idea for this whole circle. Okay, so it says November, moon of loss. Autumn is the season of letting go. Memories of summer still linger as the last of the leaves fall, leaving only bare trees that seem to scratch desperately at a vacant sky. Gone is the bird song and the drone of bees. Gone is the wild energy that kept our spirits high, leaving us with an emptiness that all the warmth of a fire and tea cannot seem to fill. This, of course, is an analogy to life, as letting go of the past can be hard. But in fact, it is one of the most courageous acts that we can do for ourselves. Under the gentle light of November's full moon, write down those dark things from your past that you cannot change on scraps of paper and burn them in a small fire. This is your reminder that though we cannot change the past, we can dictate a better future. And that is really what sparked it for me, as well as obviously the alignment that had with all of the conversations that I was having internally and with everyone that I was talking to on a regular basis. So diving into the mourning moon, I'm going to read a bit about that. So in many different cultures, November's full moon is intimately connected with death and loss on both a literal and symbolic level. The Celtics, for instance, called it the reed moon, Reed, comparing the mournful music made by wind instruments to the ghoulish sounds of spirits being drawn into the underworld, and not without good reason. So the full mourning moon marks a dangerous time of year where people could easily slip into the underworld with a single misstep. Now we're kind of getting into that like folkloric beliefs around this time of year, which is my favorite. We may enjoy the luxury of winter coats and central heating now, but freezing to death during the long, dark winters used to be a very real threat for the early inhabitants of Northern America. In order to survive, making warm winter clothing out of beaver fur was a crucial thing for Native American tribes. This is why November's full moon is also known as the beaver moon. That's more commonly called the beaver moon. During this month, beavers are very active, working hard on dam construction, and so this is a very good time to start harvesting their fur. Missing this time of month would mean death, right? Because the rivers would freeze over and it would make it impossible for traps to be set out. So many tribes, including the Cree, the Arapaho, and the Abenaki tribes, called November's full moon the moon when rivers start to freeze. This name drives home the importance of November's full moon as a signal for the tribes to begin trapping the beavers before it was too late, as well as to complete their preparations for the darkest depths of winter. So for pagans, on the other hand, this is the final stage of winter preparations that involve an important process of mourning, which is why they call the last moon before the winter solstice the mourning moon. After a full year of accumulating possessions, both physically and otherwise, the mourning moon is the perfect time of letting go of old, unnecessary things while giving yourself permission to mourn their passing, or to perform a moonlit ritual where they write down the things they want to rid themselves of and ask their goddess to help in removing those unwanted burdens. Something else that was prevalent for myself, and I know in the group chat it was being mentioned a lot, and with a lot of other people as well, that they had this really just deep, visceral urge to deep clean, right? So November was viewed in traditional witchcraft as the start of the new year, right? Because Samhain is called the witch's new year, right? So November being viewed as the start of the new year, this is why magic for this time of year is to celebrate new beginnings and starting over. So magic is also focused around getting rid of mental and spiritual and emotional baggage and letting go of things that you don't need anymore or that don't do you any good. Doing so allows us to focus on the possibilities that the future brings. And so this a couple things that this can look like, right, is performing a spiritual sweeping and doing a deep cleanse, a deep cleaning and a deep cleansing of the home. This allows new things to enter. Setting intentions around getting rid of bad habits and toxic relationships and a fresh start. And so I will also be sharing these in the event page and the group chat as well. But a good practice is thinking of the fears and the worries that are holding you back and the bad habits that are negatively affecting your mental, physical, and emotional health. Think of all of these things and write them on a piece of paper and then perform a ritual of letting them go. You can bid farewell to these things that do you no good and prevent you from growing. Now, you can do this by burning the list and giving the ashes to the wind, but if you're in our local area or in an area where you're experiencing drought right now, I would not personally do that, like especially with we're surrounded by wildfires right now. But in a non-drought season, a really great way of letting that go is to burn and then release the ashes to the wind, let the wind take it away. Not right now, not if you're in a drought and there's serious fire bans right now. So, but another way you could do that is to burn it. Or you could always burn it, or I meant to say bury it, but you could also burn it inside in a fire safe container, and you can always flush the ashes, and you can picture it like flushing out of your life, and as it's going down that it's going to be filtered and purified. That's another good way. And you should think of those things that you wish to let go, but then also think of the things that you want to bring in for yourself, right? So, do you want to be more generous? Do you want to be more positive? Do you want to be more outgoing and friendly? Eating healthier, being more active? Are you going to need new things to replace the ones that you're letting, or you're going to have to need new things to replace the things that you're letting go? So then what you can do is you can actually write down on a piece of paper the things that you want for yourself this new year. And this is not just like material things, but more in the form of habits, traits, and characteristics. And then perform a ritual and hold on to this list by placing it on your night table or someplace where you'll see it every day, on the counter next to the kitchen sink, on the refrigerator, where you keep your car keys, somewhere where you're going to see it all the time. And then each morning when you wake up and every night before you go to bed, read your list. And this is really going to instill that. So, pagan traditions aside, anyone can benefit from taking the time of self-reflection and to let go, right? So take advantage of the full morning moon this November. Look back at your year, take stock of your desires, your ambitions, your mental and behavioral habits, and the people you spend your energy on. Clean your living and workspaces, sort out the physical objects that are not contributing to your well-being anymore, and take the time to fully mourn and let go of anything or anyone that does not bring you joy, so that you can begin to fully move forward towards a lighter and a happier new year. And for anyone who is interested, I have a personal ritual that I typed up, and it is all around laying one's old selves, so like old aspects of ourselves that we would like to honorably lay to rest. I have a ritual ceremony around that. I will be totally willing to send that to you in an email. But it is a very intentional and very emotional ceremony, because in layman's terms, you are creating a wake for the old aspects of yourself you'd like to lay to rest, and it's very emotional. So, but I'm totally willing to share that with you all. And it's called The Sweet Repose. Now, we're going to touch just a very, very little bit on grief, because that's going to transition us into where we're going. Grief is one of the heart's natural responses to loss. And grief, although we oftentimes connect grief with the passing of a loved one, it's not just when someone we love passes. We can feel grief come up when we move, or when we have, realizations that relationships and friendships aren't the way that they used to be, or where we pictured them to be. It can be when you leave a job and you get a new job. It can be really any change. Any change can trigger this grief within us. And as a society, we don't really think about that, talk about that. And So obviously we're not taking the time to honor those little griefs, right? We'll call them little griefs. But it's important, because otherwise it's just all kind of building up, and we're walking around feeling all these things and carrying all these things, and we don't even really know like why things are impacting us so much. And it's because we got to make the space. So when we truly allow ourselves to feel the truth of our pain, the measure of a betrayal, or the tragedy in our life, by our willingness to mourn, we slowly acknowledge, integrate, and accept the truth of our losses. Sometimes the best way to let go is to grieve. And it takes courage to grieve, to honor the pain we carry. We can grieve in tears, or in meditative silence, or in prayer, or in song, or in dance. In touching the pain of recent and long held griefs, we come face to face with our own human vulnerability, with helplessness and hopelessness. These are the storm clouds of the heart. Most traditional societies offer ritual and communal support to help people move through grief and loss. We need to respect our tears. Without a wise way to grieve, we can only soldier on, armored and our hearts cannot learn and can't grow from the sorrows of the past. And also, in our society, it's seen as a sign of strength to be able to like bounce back as quick as possible, like to be able to like, oh, we went through the thing, but it's okay, I'm back at work, I'm back doing the thing, like, oh, no, I'm fine. But when are we going to realize that that's actually doing more harm than good? We need to allow the space for, hey, like, I know you're not doing well, like, it's okay, take your time. We can't predict when this is going to come up, or when things happen. And so it's really important that we start taking that importance of, okay, like, I'm not just going to swallow this down. I'm not just going to like numb myself to this and keep moving. It's time to feel it, to heal it. So now I want to guide us through a guided meditation. So if it feels safe for you, I invite you to close your eyes. Breathing in for 4. Hold for 4. And exhale for 4. Breathe with me, inhaling for 4. Hold for 4. And exhaling for 4. One more time, breathing in. Hold. And release. Continuing with your breathing pattern that comes naturally for you. I want you to feel your breath filling your heart space. That area in the center of your chest. Feeling it rise and fall. Allowing yourself to become present to what is within you. Becoming present into this moment. Taking one hand, holding it to your heart as if you were holding a vulnerable human. You are that vulnerable human. As you continue to breathe, allow to come to mind the loss or the pain that you're grieving. Let the stories, the images, the feelings come naturally. Hold them gently. Take your time. Breathing slowly, deeply, intentionally. Compassionately, letting whatever feelings are there, pain and tears, anger and love, fear and sorrow, come as they will. Touch them gently, witness them lovingly. Let them unravel out of your body and your mind. Breathing in and breathing. Making space for any images that arise. Breathe and hold it all with tenderness and compassion, kindness for it all, for you and for others. The grief we carry is part of the grief of the world. Hold it gently. Let it be honored. You do not have to keep it anymore. Into the heart of compassion. You can weep if you need. Instead, it arises in waves and gradually, with compassion, there comes more space around it. The heart opens, and in its own time, little by little, gaps of new life, breaks in the rain clouds appear. The body relaxes, and freer breaths appear. This is a natural cycle you can trust. How life and the heart renews itself like the spring after winter. Now, when it feels right for you, I invite you to come into a sway, wiggling your fingers and your toes, blinking your eyes back open, coming back into this space. I do apologize for the lady who keeps saying the recording is happening. That was my Wi-Fi cutting out. I do apologize. Moving with the flow, coming out of our meditation, I actually want to do a little bit of journaling. I have 2 journals, and I'm going to pull up our playlist that I created for us, just so we can have a little bit of background sound while we are journaling. Okay. From my Wi-Fi on my phone, so that way that won't happen again. Okay. So the first journal prompt that we have, and I will type this in the chat as well, so that way if you need to look up at it to just remember or anything what it was. So the first journal prompt is ask your grief. What does it need from you, or what it has to share with you? So ask your grief. What does it need from you, or what does it have to share with you? And music. Yes, Katie, ask your grief. What does it need from you, or what does it have to say? And I'll give you a few minutes with that. A few more moments. Okay. Now flowing to our second journal prompt. How can you honor and transmute your grief for your highest good moving forward? How can you honor and transmute your grief for your highest good? Okay. 10 more seconds. Okay. And both of those songs will be on our Live and Let Go playlist. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to be guiding us through, because I love, if you've sat in my circles before, you know that I kind of like taking us on a journey, right? So we did the guided meditation, we did the journaling, and now I want to go through something that's embodiment, right? So that we can really let go, so that we can really release. So I am going to walk us through an EFT tapping practice. And if you don't know what EFT tapping is, well, EFT, EFT tapping. I was trying to make sure the T wasn't for tapping and I'm double. Anyways, so it stands for emotional freedom technique or emotional freedom tapping technique. And this is where you are tapping on specific energy spots in the body, and it's helping to release. And this specific one is to help us clear our energy, raise our vibration. Okay. So you can watch along with me if you want. And so we're going to do 2 rounds of tapping. So the first thing we're going to do is I want you to you can either use 2 fingers or you can use your whole hand. I'm going to use 2 fingers, and I want you to tap on the side of your hand. And so when we're tapping, we're also going to be speaking. So if you want to watch along with me, so you see where to tap. I'm excited. I want you to take right now, just take a mental inventory, kind of where our energy, where our emotions are at right now. And let's get started. So copy what I'm doing with the tapping and then repeat after me. Even though I'm in this human experience, I have the power to heal myself. Now the eyebrow. Even though I'm in this human experience, I can live in enlightenment. The side of the eye. I command my 12 chakras to be cleared of all low vibrations. Under the eye. I command my physical body to be purged of all trauma and trapped emotion. Under the nose. I command my energetic body to be cleansed with healing frequencies. The chin. I ask for divine intervention to dissolve my ego. Collarbone. I choose to release all negativity, distressing emotions, and thoughts of lack. Now this one's going to be under the arm, right on the rib cage. It is my birthright to be and have anything I desire. And the top of the head. And I am exercising my birthright now. Okay, in round 2, we're going back to the side of the hand. I align my being with energy of love. Eyebrows. I am an infinite being. Side of the eye. I am an energetic match to my deepest desires. Beautiful. Under the eye, I command out anything resisting those desires. Beautiful. Under the nose, I am safe, loved, and protected. Beautiful. The chin, I align with my vortex of goodness and abundance. Collarbone. I trust that today will unfold even better than I expect it to. Under the arm. Exciting opportunities are always flowing my way. And the top of the head. My energy and health increase each and every day. My energy and health increase each and every day. Okay. Bringing your hands to your heart, maybe rubbing them, getting a little fire going. Inhale in. And inhale out. Now take stock of how you're feeling now. So good. Okay. So now is the chance where I'm actually going to pause the recording because I just remembered I can do that. Okay, so now we're getting into the end of our circle and our time here this evening. Unfortunately, I wish we could sit in here and connect and share. So I want to share a poem with you all, and it's called "Letting Go" by Nikita Gill. If you've been in my circles or my workshops before, you know I love her, and I'm usually always weaving something in with her. So it goes, letting go is not giving up. Letting go is not weakness. It takes immense courage to release something or someone that is harming you. It takes even more courage to know that you are the one who is causing harm. Sometimes we are. Letting go is often an act of love. I just wanted to read that poem. Nikita Gill is always coming with the words. But yeah, letting go is often an act of love, right? So, closing out, I'm just going to share, if you are all interested in my sweet repose ritual, please let me know and I will send it to you in an email. You can hit me up on Messenger or Instagram, however we're connected, and just be like, hey, that ritual like sounded pretty good. I'll send it right to your email for you. I think it's too big. I think I have to send it as an email. But I'll get it to you. The Sweet Repose, and it's a ceremony of honorably laying one's old selves to rest. And you can even work with it a little bit, and instead of like one's old selves, if you want to work with like certain habits or thought patterns or certain like memories that kind of come up and it like makes us cringe, like our own personal blooper reels, you can incorporate those instead and honorably lay those to rest, right? So there's that. There's also, really quickly, I'll read this to you. Um, I was kind of like, do I want to do this? Do I want to share this? But I'm going to share it. Um, if you have read Women Who Run with the Wolves, in this book, she talks about descansos. And so, um, these are her words. It says, I would like to introduce you to the concept of descansos. If you've ever traveled in Old Mexico, New Mexico, Southern California, Arizona, or parts of the South, and then I put in parentheses, or even up here, like in the mountainous terrains, you'll see them all over around here as well. Um, but you'll see on the roadways, you'll see little white crosses and flowers and pictures. These are descansos, or resting places. You can also find them on the edges of cliffs along particularly scenic or dangerous roads in Greece, Italy, and even other Mediterranean countries. Sometimes crosses are clustered in 2, 3, or 5s. People's names are inscribed on them, and in the rockiest passes, you may see the crosses painted on large rocks at the roadsides. There's actually a giant rock wall across the road from my house, a bit over a ways, has that spray painted on it for that reason. Descansos are symbols that mark a death. Right there, right on that spot, someone's journey in life halted unexpectedly. There has been a car accident, or someone was walking, and or heat exhaustion, or a fight took place. Something happened there that altered that person's life and the lives of other people forever. Women have died 1,000 deaths before they are 20 years old. They've gone in this direction or that and have been cut off. They've had hopes and dreams that have been cut off also. Anyone who says otherwise is still asleep. All that is grist for the mill of descansos. While all these things deepen individuation, differentiation, growing out, blossoming, becoming awake and aware and conscious, they are also profound tragedies and have to be grieved as such. To make descansos means taking a look at your life, marking where the small deaths and the big deaths have taken place. I like to make a timeline of a woman's life on a big long sheet of white butcher paper and to mark with a cross all the places along the graph, starting with her infancy all the way to the present, where parts and pieces of herself and her life have died. We mark where there were roads not taken, paths that were cut off, ambushes, betrayals, and death. I put a little cross along the timeline at places that should have been mourned or still need to be mourned. And then I write in the background forgotten for those things that the woman senses but which have not yet surfaced. And I also wrote forgiven over all those things that the woman has for the most part released. And so I share this with you all too because there's also a descansos practice. And I shared this a couple years ago when I did the Live and Let Die circle that was specifically around grief. We will probably be circling around with this again, ancestral work, grief, and supporting women in those kind of areas in life, and rage, the dark feminine. That's kind of seeming to be where it's where I spend most of my time, and so I'm starting to get it, okay? But when I did the Live and Let Die circle, I shared the descansos, and I shared the descansos practice that Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who wrote Women Who Run with the Wolves, she actually created as a practice to go with that. So if you would like the sweet repose ritual, if you would like the descansos practice, let me know, and I will make sure you get those. In the Facebook event page, if you clicked that you were going on that page, in there you're also going to see where I'm going to drop the card that we got this evening, the playlist that I curated for us that you heard a little bit of it when we were journaling, but there's also other songs that I've added to that kind of fit this energy too, because I love to move. That's where I get most of my downloads. That's where I release a lot of my stuff. So I love to make playlists for everything. I make playlists for like every circle. And I just wanted to share, if you want to work with me, I do offer energetic healing sessions. I offer one-on-one custom circles. So something like what we sat through this evening, but specifically custom and curated for whatever you're going through currently in your life. And I will facilitate it, and you will just be able to sit back and receive. And I am newly certified as a spiritual life coach, soon to be a certified hypnotherapist and intuitive energy healer. So that's coming as well. But reach out to me if you feel called to connect, because I would love to be able to hold that space for you. And I just want to say a personal thank you to each and every one of you who are here this evening in this circle. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for trusting in me to guide this space this evening. And please stay tuned in the Wider Circles Facebook group and on the Facebook page so that you don't miss anything else coming up. I just posted a new episode of our podcast called The Sister Wound and Sister Circles. A little bit of loosey-goosey tidbits moving forward. If you are local, which Katie and Mel, you guys are local like Lenape-Hoking. Katie, we still need to make that into shirts. Anne Marie is the woman who put together the holistic happy hour that I was a part of last weekend, which was incredible, by the way. And she also reached out to myself and Daisy. So for the winter solstice, we are going to be doing a goddess circle together at Elemental. And so this is like very, very pre-announcements, but keep an eye out for that, because we are going to be sharing more on that so that you guys can get in tune with that. And hopefully a lot more to come. So again, thank you all for coming here tonight. May this circle be open but never broken. And may the love of the goddess be ever in your hearts. Blessed be my sisters. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. Bye.